Hey guys, this is Mike, and I have to make an announcement today. Alex and I, we've really enjoyed doing the Annoying Vegans podcast together for as many episodes as we have, but he will not be continuing the podcast any longer. There were just some creative differences, some disagreements, but you know what? That's the business. There's no bad blood. I'm going to be continuing this podcast with my mom, Mercedes, who is here today. We're going to be the new Annoying Vegans. Just kidding, everybody. Alex is here to stay.
Yay.
All right. We're the Annoying Vegans. We bring you perspective, validation, laughs, and it's almost September. Tomorrow is September.
Summer's
Almost over. How was your summer?
My summer was pretty cool. I had a little concert series.
Which concerts?
Well, started off with Chris Brown. He came out over to Austin. It was a great time. A lot of good songs, good production. And then went to go see Missy Elliott, talk about production. That
Sierra
was great. Yes. Sierra blew it out the water. She was like, if Missy didn't sing all her hit songs, I mean, Sierra would have sold the show.
Wow.
Her performance was really good. She didn't have to give what she gave, so I appreciate that. Capped it off with Janet Jackson. So, Miss Jackson, I appreciate the work you put out there. So it was amazing. So
if you're listening, Janet, we appreciate you.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, that was my summer. It was just stay out this Texas heat and just going to the concerts and having a good time. So kind of enjoying myself and some of the free time I had for myself.
Excellent.
But what about you? What did you do this summer?
What did I do this summer? The summer like flashed in front of my face. I didn't even realize it was almost over. What did I do? I mean, this is now the second time I'm doing this, but I took a trip down to New Braunfels. You guys saw the little vlog, right, on our shorts channel. But
Make sure you check it out.
Yeah, so that was fun. So much fun that I decided to do it again. Just go lazy river tubing. Haven't made it to the beach this summer, unfortunately, but I might take a beach trip maybe in the fall. I might tag along to a Puerto Rico trip with a friend of mine.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, so I'll have to look up the vegan Puerto Rico scene. I have not been staying away from the sun. I'm an engineer. I'm stuck inside staring at screens. Sometimes it's like, okay, by the time I'm finally done, it's like the end of the day. So I don't really get a lot of time in the sun. So anytime the sun's out, I'm like, yes. Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's it, really.
So, with that being said, our topic today and what we'll be discussing is future. Is the future vegan? So, is the future vegan?
That's a very deep question, I think, because it might depend like who you're around and where you are. Sometimes it might feel like it very much is not. We both live in Texas right now. They're very big on their barbecue and their meat and even rodeos and the activities, horse-drawn carriages and things like that. So from an animal ethics perspective, it definitely doesn't feel that way depending where you are. But then on the other hand, if you go to certain locations, it's very like natural. And it's very easy to just go to a restaurant and find vegan options. And it's very easy to find a community. I'm so continually surprised by how many vegans I've met in Dallas alone, even if they're not fully vegan, are interested in it or part-time vegan.
One's like really saying what is like, yeah, people still kind of question exactly the limitations of what veganism is. Like, is this vegan? Is this vegan? But I feel like more people understand kind of what veganism is, that even if they think it's just like vegetarian, like at least they know the word more what vegan is, right?
Yeah, last weekend I had taken a trip to Shreveport and there was a guy there who found out I was vegan. Wasn't really about it, but also kind of referenced a person he knows that is vegan as well. Now, I'm not just gonna say like made me feel better, like made me feel more comfortable, but it just kind of made me think a little bit about, okay, well, but the fact that they know, like now at this point, at least two vegans, says something.
Yeah, two vegans. The education piece or on veganism is kind of spreading, especially more when it comes to like the food. I mean, I feel like that's where philosophy will spread, is when it comes to food, because food is a lot social and you're going to be speaking with people a lot when it comes to food. Social media, it plays a role with that, but also thinking about where people are putting their dollars. The Impossible Burger at Burger King just turned 5 years. So it's kind of crazy that a nationwide fast food chain, like a pretty big one, I guess you'd say, I don't know if it's top 5 or top 10 or whatever, but pretty well known fast food restaurant, has a vegan burger that is served I think at almost every location. I don't think there's been a location where wasn't served. So for that to be a fact, and all for like people like Tabitha Brown, or celebrities out there who are known to be vegans and are being welcomed into circles and social circles, and just the spread of veganism, I think the awareness will continue to grow. Now, whether or not the world and everything will go to veganism eventually, I don't know how soon that'll be, but I feel like, especially if, like, the environmental aspect, I think that's gonna be the next thing to kind of hurry up, convert more people toward veganism, is once we start to hit, I guess, milestones when it comes to climate change and things like that. And I've heard of countries like Brazil, and even some countries in the European Union. They're creating these climate laws to at least not subsidize or help when it comes to like deforestation, or when it comes to like ranching and things like that. So I think there's a pool that we're seeing, even though it's very minimal. I think like slowly but surely we're getting there, and it's definitely exciting as far as being vegan right now, just because of the food products that's coming out and the accessibility that's growing. But I also kind of notice, and let me know your feelings on this as well, it also feels like it's almost like a push and pull where it comes to like, oh, there's this new thing that's vegan and it's out, and then it's away, it's got taken away, or there's this new restaurant, but it's closed. There's kind of this push and pull when it comes to veganism, and so it's kind of hard to gauge what is spreading and what is working.
I agree. I mean, I've seen so many close downs of restaurants, probably more so in this region. In Boston, restaurants that I knew about when I was there are still running and operational. Maybe that's just because the market is better in that region. But there's a lot of regions that are very similar to Texas where it's a trend. I mean, there's a big vegan community, even though it doesn't seem like it. And then the restaurants are there to serve that community, and then they close down. And it's happening very, very often. This is going to sound, I think, maybe controversial.
Ooh, yeah.
I think we need to give some attention to non-vegan restaurants that have vegan options. But
so this attention that you're wanting to give to non-vegan restaurants, are we taking some attention away from vegan restaurants to give to non-vegan restaurants? Is that what you're saying?
That might be the case, because it just doesn't seem to be working. It is very controversial. I'm not saying to do that, like that end all be all, but hear me out.
Okay.
So if we keep going to these non-vegan restaurants and ordering, like, maybe, I don't know, I mean, there was one I went to yesterday that had 2. So there's more than one. And that's saying something, because these places used to have just one, right?
Vegan option.
Just one vegan option. So if we keep doing that, that demand will increase, and then you'll see it more, like at your just regular restaurants. Like, it'll become more of a thing. And I mean, this is idealistic, probably, but we're talking about the future, right?
Yeah.
So 20 years from now, you got to keep bringing your non-vegan you got to keep going to these non-vegan restaurants, your non-vegan friends, and ordering the vegan entree, giving it to them to try. And then they'll be like, that's not bad. I'll order it on my own time, And who's to say, like, maybe in 20 years from now,
2044.
Let's say 10 years from now. Maybe in 10 years, 2034, your regular restaurants will have like 50% of the menu will become is vegan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some restaurants like that today that they're just more of the healthier restaurants. Just typically the salad bowl-y types of things, like grain bowls and grain bowls and acai bowls, like those type of restaurants, smoothie places, like they're pretty much like 50%, maybe more, 80% vegan. So where I'm going with all that is veganism the future? I don't know, but I feel like for veganism to be common, that's how I see the question. Is it a common thing? It's not something that we have to convince people, or it's not such a niche, right? That would only happen if 8% of every restaurant or more, it just has plant-based options.
So yeah, and I definitely agree. Like, the accessibility part is one of the biggest issues that's facing veganism. Like, you want to go to your favorite place, whether it be a bar, a restaurant, wherever, and you want there to just be something there that will accommodate you, regardless of if you're vegan or not. You want to go somewhere that has something that you want, that offers something to you. So I mean, like I said, that's a good point as far as the accessibility issue. But I also wonder about, so say if a menu is 50% plant-based, we know that veganism itself is a little bit more than just the diet, right? And those vegan restaurants, I feel like, have a little bit more say, or at least a little bit more of an impact when it comes to the education piece, or even at least having some type of mission of sustainability.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a little bit more of a heart, or at least a mission behind fully vegan restaurants, rather than just serving plant-based meals that Beyond Meat restaurants don't have, right? And they're just selling what will sell.
Yeah.
And so I definitely agree. Like, yes, we want to make sure it's accessible, but there's also the piece of how do we also still say, hey, there's more behind this than just the food.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because why would you want to go to a meat company? I think we said it in Victoria said in one of the prior episodes, Tyson, right, had plant-based options. Why would I want to support a company whose bottom line mission is to sell more meat and kill more chickens each year?
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of does also sound idealistic, pie in the sky type of vision here. But if those types of companies, if they have more plant-based options to the point where it's like 50% or more, then their mission statement would change at that point.
Oh, okay. So you're saying, okay. And I can see that too.
I
can see a company saying, especially when I think we may even talked about this before, as far as like the pandering sometimes the companies do. They're like, this is this month, and so we have this item for these people, so give us your money. So I can see where if plant-based items are a little more popular, they'd be like, hey, we're all about sustainability. Like,
I mean, they're not going to have a choice at that point,
Yeah, so I can see that too. Companies kind of changing their mission, value, or their state, whatever they say they believe in, to kind of accommodate what customers are wanting from them. As far as the future goes, I think it's bright for veganism. And like I said, as far as like the push-pull thing, I think that's also kind of normal as well. You're going to see highs, you're going to see lows. But I think if you just kind of track the trend of what's happening, you still see it going up. I forgot the exact number, but there was a study of how many people have identified as vegan in, like, I think it was like England or something like that, and it like doubled over the past 10 years. I mean, doubled from like 1.5 to like 3, but still, like that's a lot more people than it was. So I think there is a good trend, and like I said, at the end of the day, it all kind of comes down to, especially in the world we live in, where our dollars mean something. It means putting our dollars towards whatever, maybe food or whatever maybe that is vegan. So to share to the companies that, hey, we're out here too. And like you said, if it's, or at least for me, if it's ordering an Impossible Burger every once in a while, saying, hey, there's still some demand for this out here, or if it's going to your local vegan restaurant, it all does help. And
even if, I would totally understand people saying, no, like, I want to support the company that's vegan, that has the vegan mission statement. I don't want to eat Impossible Burger. I mean, it's an indulgent food. It's not healthy. It's made in a lab. I get all of that. I think the way to have some impact and to work around that might be to try and get your Omni friends to explore those options. And then maybe they do that on their own.
Right.
Like, I don't have to be there. Like, you're going to order the vegan food on your own.
Yeah. To kind of tag along with that, as far as like Omnis and trying to find their equivalent on the vegan side, I think over the years, I think we've both seen where like companies, at least overseas, have introduced a lot of vegan items, like vegan Kit Kat or something like that, or even here, there's like obviously the vegan Reese's and stuff like that, where it's just like companies are starting to see that there's opportunities out there. I was just thinking, like, as you were saying that if you're going vegan for your health, then it doesn't give a big impact, because say you're buying more vegetables and no meat. People will see, okay, there's more vegetable sales, but what's the message there? Like, there's not really a huge, okay, well, people are just eating more vegetables. It's not necessarily saying, hey, I'm vegan, right? But if you buy an Impossible Burger and a vegan Kit Kat or a vegan Reese's, people are saying, okay, so there's this other market for us to kind of market to. I guess it's almost saying, like, meat, dairy, they all have their own industries, but like when it comes to the fruit, vegetables, things that are actually healthy for you, it's hard there's not like these multi-billion-dollar corporations that are just tracking trends. And so it's hard to kind of make an impact now if you're vegan for your health.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So I was just like, like, how do you, there's like a 2% tick up in broccoli sales. Like, okay, great. We'll grow more broccoli, that's fine. It's not like it's just saying anything. So yeah.
There's always going to be pushback too. Like, there are lots of people out there that are very strongly against it. And it even becomes more so the more that it rises and more popular it becomes. The more vegan restaurants there are, the more vegan people there are, the more aggravated these people who are completely like anti-vegan are going to be. And especially the companies associated with them, the meat industry is going to push back even harder and try to, you know, put these campaigns out there that are going to say like, oh, vegan food is bad for you, or it's going to be lots of like fighting, right?
Yeah, and we kind of touched on this before. Like, there are certain organizations that are fighting against like oat milk to be named oat milk.
Don't drink or something.
Yeah, they don't want milk to be associated
Yeah.
with alternative milks. So there's that, and then there's also states they're trying to ban faux meats, and so like Impossible Burgers, and because they want to protect their agriculture and their ranching businesses like that. So definitely going to be pushback. But it's also interesting as well. We see, like you said, Tyson, one of the largest manufacturers of chicken, are entering. I'd rather them enter, like have a vegan product, than spend money or lobby against vegan products. Definitely understand there's that catch-22 or that double-edged sword.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I think just try your best. You can't solve all the world's problems as an individual, nor should you be expected to.
Right.
But I am very interested to see what the future looks like, especially thinking about where we used to be, and even, I don't know, the 90s or so. Like, what was it like being a vegan in the 90s?
I don't even want to imagine. Like, like when I hopped into veganism, I thought that was like sparse pickings of things to look at. But if you want to go back to the 90s, and I've heard people like vegan since the 70s, I was just like, how? But you know, it's possible, right? So we know it is possible, and there's different types of veganism, different types of diets with vegans. So the year is 2034. What is, you would say, looking back from 2024 to 2034, what is the state of veganism?
Oh, so you want me to have a psychic vision here?
Nostradamus.
What is the...
A lot more vegan people.
A lot more vegan people. The audience has a lot more vegan people. Ooh, 10 years from now. But that's a hard question, because I feel like we've already seen so much change from 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's either I think it's gonna go two ways. Either gonna be so much pushback against it, where this is gonna sound very morose, but there'll be so much pushback. It's gonna be harder for companies to grow because of smear tactics. The government could get involved. It depends who's running the government, and you know, is the meat
registry to vote. Registry to vote. This comes out before voting. So.
It will definitely come out before the election day.
Hopefully, we're busy. We're not that busy. Vote.
Hoping, yeah. But you know, so that could be one thing. It could be a harder fight to fight against. But on the other hand, the other thing that could happen is it could be even bigger. Like I was kind of what I was describing earlier. It's just like it's just so common that it's not even like a question anymore. It's not even something like we have to convince people that it's
nothing
good
we have to explain, right?
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I've heard of that, and I see that option there sometimes. Oh, okay, that's how it tastes. Oh, I might try that sometime, or something like that. So yeah, no, I think in 10 years, I know it's a huge thing to kind of predict, but it was just, I see the curiosity there. But no, I think, and it's kind of to what you were saying earlier, as far as like the menus themselves. If now there are some restaurants with 1 or 2 items, maybe there's now a vegan section, like there's salads, like salad sections, like 4 or 5 salads, none of them are vegan. Like how do you do that? But like maybe there's a section of veganism where there's like 5 or 6 options that are just like for vegans. And so I don't think it'll be a growth. I don't think it's going to be an exploding growth. But like you said, there's going to be pushback. So that's why I think, like, again, the push and pull. I think there's just going to be like an explosion, then the shrinkage. But I think there's going to be like that steady, slow growth. And hopefully we can look back on this video 10 years from now
54,
and say we were right. Or we were wrong.
We were wrong. We're very wrong. And just one thing I want to add is that I love to see just like the other day I saw Ariana Grande's video of the hot wings challenge, and she's plant-based. She identified herself as plant-based. So she was eating vegan chicken the whole interview.
Hot ones.
No always offers me meatballs, and I'm like, no, thank you. Like, I'm still plant-based. I'm full.
The vegan wings are filling. That's for sure.
And she's a legend for the hot sauce levels that she's able to.
Did she go to what was that, like the top one or something?
Yeah.
Did she go to that one?
Yeah. I'm not just saying that because we have the same birthday, but yeah, we have the same birthday.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, yeah. So it's cool to see, and I know you kind of feel a little iffy about like celebrities endorsing plant-based and then like not, and then
Yeah.
coming in and coming out.
There's a celebrity that did that recently. I was just like, what? Really? Okay.
I just think it's nice that the community, and whether you want to call yourself plant-based or whether you want to call yourself vegan, we can just say plant-based community is so diverse right now.
I'm kind of curious. I'll have to kind of look this up on my own because I'm always kind of like looking up random things. But like, I'm curious how the movement or veganism is in other countries as well, not just like North America or Europe, but like curious about that in like South America or in in Asia or countries in Africa. Like I'm kind of curious like where that is, and I know obviously there are a lot of places that are mostly plant-based, but obviously have meat here and there. So it's not a huge issue because I know America, for some reason, we're so obsessed with meats as opposed to other countries where meats are kind of like a small portion of their diet or not as huge of a portion. Like I said, we're in Texas, barbecue capital. Everyone comes here, they want to eat barbecue, and so it's not something that Texas is known for. But I'm just kind of curious if this is what I feel like the trend is here in America. Wondering if that is also translating to somewhere else in the world where, okay, it's more of a global thing rather than, and then it can also be, because America is somewhat, or at least a lot of the times, a leader in certain movements or in certain things. So maybe the world will look to America when it comes to, this movement. So, 2034, well, I think it's going to be a good year for veganism.
Oh yeah, 2034 is going to be a good year. We're going to be in our 40s then.
Yeah. But healthy 40s.
We'll be healthy. We'll be doing our push-ups and our burpees. Thank you all for listening. Please chime in. What do you think is future of veganism? Is it going to become bigger? Is it going to stay the same? Is it going to become smaller? Is it going to be a big pushback movement? And also, what can we do as individuals? Or, what do you think we should do to kind of like help the cause and make an impact? Let us know in the comments. Feel free to send us messages and tell us you're so wrong about this. I think, we can have more people come on and give us their feedback like we had before.
Let us know if you want to come on. Let us know your opinions.
Yeah, we don't mind some differing opinions. But yeah, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your cousins, brothers, sisters, mothers, and put those notifications on so you can see when we have a new video.
Right, absolutely. And we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. So follow us, Annoying Vegans.
And just a quick plug, we have shorts in the meantime, in between time. As we're doing episodes, we'll have little vlogs, kind of just like tidbits about our life and also just things we learned about protein, watermelon, all the 9 yards, places we've traveled to. So all right.
Oh, that's it.
Peace. Thank you.